What's up, YouTube? Crowdsource123 here. We are going to be doing that deck profile for you guys today. Now, the deck profile, of course, we got our wife texting us. Of course, the deck profile is going to be of our Frog Monarchs, the deck that I kind of just showed you guys in the last video. So, of course, this deck it's like your normal Frog Monarch deck. It has a couple of different cards, I think, in the deck, but that really all is it. Like their decks nowadays, they are not. Well, this is my version of the deck. It's more of it's still the same deck, but there's just a couple of different cards in it. So, yeah, you're just taking new cards in it. But let's just get on with the deck profile. First, we are starting off with three swap frogs. Three. Swap Frog is in there. Of course, we're starting off with the Frog Engine. So Swap Frog, you normal summon it, or you can discard all your frogs to special summon it. Only reason why I'm just saying frog, I think it's like an aqua or something like that that you can use to special summon it. It's just you only use the frogs for your aquas. So you summon it any way, shape, or form, and you can then put a frog from your deck to the graveyard, aka Trigborn Frog. Other things you can do is just return a monster to your hand. Then you can, emphasis on the can, special summon or extra normal summon, sorry, another frog from your hand. So, but that summoning of a frog is optional. We have two Treeborn Frogs. I find I don't really like three Treeborn Frogs. I only like two. Um, and that's the fact, like, once you have two in the graveyard, they're kind of useless. Like, one of them is going to be kind of useless. You can, however, like, if your opponent does attack you, you battle Fader, next turn you can Trooper Frog, you can go to, like, a Slacker Magician. But, yeah, like, other than that, only one Trooper Frog's going to come back. So yeah, that's Trooper. We have two Duke Frogs here. The Duke Frog here it's really for its search. Your opponent can't attack another monster while it's faced up on the field. But the thing is, if this card is destroyed, you can search for a frog, which is, it is optional, so you can miss the timing on it. But it does help you search out for your swap frog if you need it earlier in the game. Which, of course, you want to get that Trooper Frog in the graveyard ASAP. So Duke Frog helps search out for the swap frog, which helps get the Trooper Frog, of course, in the graveyard. And lastly, we have our Ronin Totem, which is, you put your frogs in the graveyard, you remove them, bring back Ronin Totem. You can use them as an exceed material, or you can use them as fodder for sacrificing. So, Ronin Totem, he's only a one of. You only ever need him as a one of. Now we're going to go with our sacrifice monsters. We have three Kayeth. Now, Dark Monarch, or Shadow Monarch, I guess. Self-explanatory, he removes stuff from the game. Of course, if it also is a dark monster, then you get to deal him 1,000 damage. 3, Reza, the Storm Monarch, because, I like the feeling of telling my opponent, return it to the top of your deck. They now lose, essentially, a draw step in the entire game, because they do, like, that's one card less that they are going to draw in this game. So, Reza, awesome card. We are using 2 Jinzo. Now, Jinzo, a lot of people really don't like him. A lot of people don't use him in Monarchs, but, I mean, if you are not using any trap cards, I find Jinzo is perfect. It takes away your opponent's ability to use trap cards. Your opponent does have double torrential. Your opponent they can use double bottomless. They can use double mirror force. There are some really awesome cards out there that Jinzo can just stop now. So, 2 Jinzo. 1 quick draw synchron. Let's actually put him up onto the screen here. This is a card that I am really iffy on. Like, I kind of want to use him, at the same time I don't want to use him. He is good because he allows me to use 3 different synchros as options. But at the same time, I find like I don't really want to sacrifice for this guy, and I don't want to discard, as a special summon this guy. I'm like, if I do have a frog that I really don't need, I can't. So, Quick Draw Synchron, he's an interesting tech. If I were to take him out, I would probably take him out for maybe something like a Wind Up Rabbit. Reason being, it may sound strange, but I mean, if you summon Wind Up Rabbit, your opponent summon, like if you don't have your frogs and you need to sacrifice for something in your hand, you have that rabbit to remove from play to come back to have field presence for you to sacrifice. The only reason that's like the only kind of reason that I am thinking to maybe put a single Wind Up Rabbit in the deck, but yeah, that is what Quick Draw Synchron is in there for. We have two Light and Darkness Dragons. This card is a beast. Your opponent has to waste resources in order to destroy it. Being 2,800 already, every time it loses like 500 attack points or something like that. Yes, as you can tell, I haven't played the deck in quite a while. It loses 500 attack points and negates whatever it was. So, and once your opponent destroys it, it destroys everything you control. So you don't really want to continuously summon stuff. You want this like pretty much on its own, just so your opponent can waste their resources, and then like even if your opponent wastes the resource once, it is still like plussing. Um, so yeah, you light Nexus Dragon, it blows up, takes everything you have with it, and then you special summon a monster from your graveyard. So I mean, if you have like a Jinzo in your graveyard, fantastic. If you have maybe a Frog in your graveyard, well, it's not as great, but I mean, you still get that special summon. Next, we have Arc Lord Christia. This is a personal tech that I like to put in, and it's not a hard card to get out. I mean, like same with like Nurkish Dragon, level 7 or 8 is not a very hard card to get out. 2,800 attack points. Neither player can special summon. It does stop your Frog Engine, which it does suck a little bit that it stops your Frog Engine, but it's not the end of the world. You play Arc Lord Christia, it stops your opponent from Gorzing, it stops your opponent from exceeding, it stops your opponent from synchro summoning. So it does stop a lot of things. I think it does more good than bad in the deck. And of course, the fantastic thing is if it does get destroyed by your opponent, then it goes back on top of your deck. Then you can just do some shenanigans to bring our Clerk Christia out next turn to stop your opponent from going all out again. So yeah, one Arcler Christia. A lot of people would rather run Vanity's Fiend. I like Arcler Christia better. It can be special summoned. I believe so. Again, I haven't played this deck in ages. I know that you can have 4 fairies, special summon, and then you can return either play against special summon monsters. Yeah, so it can be special summoned. If you were to say sacrifice to this for a Light and Darkness Dragon, it goes into the graveyard. And then if Light and Darkness Dragon were to be destroyed, you can special summon Arclord Christia, which is another 2,800 beat stick, which your opponent cannot then just fully go out with their play. So Arclord Christia is freaking awesome. So that is it for our sacrifice monsters. Next we have our I guess special summon in general kind of cards. We have first being Gores. If you are playing Fog Monarchs and no traps, which you should be playing traps with Fog Monarchs, Gores is your friend. I officially, when I first made the deck, I didn't even remember Gores, and then I saw Gores in a pile. I'm just shit, got to put this card in. It is fantastic. Yeah, like it's Gores. I don't run Tragodia in this deck though. We have 2 Battle Faders. The Battle Faders being, your opponent attacks, special summon a Battle Fader. It can help you get out Slacker Magician. It can help bring out Monarchs and stuff like that because you summon it, you sacrifice it. One thing I do think is really awesome that I was kind of playtesting the deck, and I just you summon your Battle Fader on your turn. You can swap Frog, put like a Treeborn in the graveyard. Use Swap Frog's ability to return your Battle Fader to your hand and then reuse Battle Fader. So that is pretty cool. Last monster in the deck is Zephyros the Elite. Pretty sick card. When it is in the graveyard, you can special summon it by returning a card or a monster you control back to the hand. Usually going to be a Monarch, and then you can sacrifice your Elite to summon that Monarch, get the effect. That is it for the monsters. One monster that I will be putting into the deck, I will be playtesting it, is Slife of the Sky Dragon. I was finally able to get one online. Cost me an arm and a leg pretty much. I didn't buy it, I traded for it, but it traded me an arm and a leg for it. But I find Slife of the Sky Dragon is just too good of a card. If level 8s are really easy to get out in this, I think one single God card, which is easily the best God card, will be fine. When you have Slife of the Sky Dragon on the field, I don't think you really have to worry too much about certain decks because they can't really go explosive. Because like Samurais, they're not a big deck anymore. I'm just using Samurais as an example, I guess. And that is, you summon it are they have to have that normal summon. If they don't, they're going to lose the game pretty much. And if they normal summon, Slifer's just going to use its secondary ability minus 2,000. If they don't have the 2,000, they get destroyed. So I think Slifer will be a good card. I will try it. If I don't like it, then it is just going to be a collection card. But I do think I am going to enjoy it. But let's continue on with the deck profile with our spells now. We have two Pot of Duality. Now, a lot of people, I think I see, not really using Duality nowadays. It's kind of weird. You leave the game for a good while, you come back, and there are cards that are like ultimate staples, which aren't really staples, I guess, really anymore. Pot of Duality, like, it's not a hugely used card like it was before. Like, before it was a necessity when it first came out. Pot of Duality, it helps let you search for the deck, and with it doesn't allow you to summon your Trueborn Frog. You have to say not to summon Trueborn Frog, but there are other plays in the deck that you don't need Trueborn Frog for. So it allows you to say, okay, well, this turn I'm not going to do my Trueborn Frog. I will search for the top. I'll look at the top 3 cards, pick one, and play on. So 2 Pot of Dualities. One of the cards that, of course, as I am just saying with the Pot of Duality, if you have a different play, that is 3 Soul Exchange. Again, if you don't want to use your Trueborn Frog, you can Soul Exchange their dude after Polar Duality and normal summon your Caius or your Reza or your Jinzo. They just can't attack that turn. So there are other plays, again, as I said, for the deck if you use Polar Duality. One of the best cards by far in the deck. If you are playing Frog Monarchs, you should be playing 3 of this, and that is our good friend Enemy Controller. Now, Enemy Controller, what it basically does is if you have a Trueborn Frog in the graveyard, you special summon it. Because it's still during your standby phase, and Enemy Controller is a quick play. You quick play Enemy Controller, sacrifice your Trueborn, take their monster. Enemy Controller goes to the graveyard. It is still technically your standby phase because it was activated as a quick play. You can then special summon that Trueborn Frog in face-up defense position. So you essentially get a free change of heart kind of thing. So Enemy Controller is just a fantastic card all around, especially in this deck. For staples, we have our top 3, of course, staples. You have your Dark Hole, you have your Monster Gorn, and your Heavy Storm. Yeah, so I'm not going to explain those. We have a Foolish Burial in this. I don't know if this is really all mandatory. I don't really look at other people's Frog Monarch decks. But Foolish Burial, it helps get Trueborn Frog in the graveyard. It helps get Swap Frogs in the graveyard, or it helps get Ronin Totem in the graveyard. If you have both Swap Frog and Ronin Totem in the graveyard, Trueborn Frog and Ronin Totem in the graveyard, you can get Swap Frog in the graveyard, so you can start banishing your frogs that are not Trueborn to bring out your Ronin Totems if you really need to. As well, the other card is Zephyros the Elite. You can put that into the graveyard so you can do a Monarch play. So I find Foolish Burial, it has very good use in this deck. I've been maybe kind of thinking of putting Plague Spreader Zombie in this deck, but Plague Spreader Zombie isn't a huge card, so maybe not. One Forbidden Lance, I do want more than one Forbidden Lance, in all honesty. Being able to protect your Monarch, you sacrifice, you summon your Monarch. If your opponent tries to bottomless it, you Forbidden Lance it. It loses 800 for, until the end of the turn, but it saves you from bottomless, it saves you from torrential tribute. It is such a good card to save you from certain things, so I want 2 Forbidden Lances. If I can't get another one soon, I think I probably will. They are kind of expensive, even for the commons, but, might as well. Next, we are using another one of my favorite spell cards, is Creature Swap. Now, Creature Swap, awesome-tastic card, because, you get your Treeborn. Your Treeborn is pretty much free picking. You can do whatever you want with your Treeborn, because it just special summons automatically. And, you summon your Treeborn, Creature Swap, get their best monster that they have, and then, yeah, you can just get that Trueborn Frog back. So, Creature Swap, I find, is a card that should be a one of in Frog Monarch decks. One Pot of Avarice, it is a card that I'm kind of meh on. It does help get your Monarchs. If your Monarchs are in the graveyard, you want to bring them back. You don't want to touch your Frog Engine, really. You can touch your Swap Frog kind of thing if you really want to. But it kind of recycles your monarchs and your light and darkness dragons and stuff like that you want to get back into your deck to draw 2 cards. So it is a card that I would probably take out if I got something better. And finally, one Smash and Ground, which is honestly just in there for a slot. I didn't have another really good card that I could put in there, so I put in Smash and Ground because we're not using traps, so I just put in Smash and Ground. And if I got another Forbidden Lance, honestly, for Smash and Ground would be the one to go. It wouldn't be Pot of Avarice, it would be Smash and Ground. So, yeah, I'm not really big a fan of Smash and Ground, but it is in there just for the sake of being in there for now. So now we have, lastly, our extra deck. Very small extra deck for now. I don't really have a lot of cards that I can really put in there. First one being Photon Strike Bouncer. This card is sick. It works with your monarchs. This is the sole reason, I bought a tin not too long ago, just for Photon Strike Bouncer so I could make the deck. It reminded me why I didn't buy the Yu-Gi-Oh product for tins, because I got 5 for 5 rares, which really sucks. But I mean, being able to detach a material to say I negate your card or negate your monster effect and deal you 1,000 damage. So not a bad card. One gotcha because he's easy to bring out. He makes your guys stronger, and he's harder to destroy. Next, we have one Slacker Magician, because we don't have Daigusto Phoenix. We don't. And trust me, I would love to have a Daigusto Phoenix. One Slacker Magician, though, easy to get out. You Battle Fader and this. That's when you get it out, really. Does help for defense. And, of course, our last 3 cards are one Drill Warrior, because, your Junk Synchron. You have your Junk Destroyer, because, you're level 8 kind of thing. You can go into your Quick Draw, your Swap Frog, and your Treeborn, bring them out, destroy 2 cards. And just this guy here, I don't really have Junk Archer. I may be kind of looking for one, but the thing is, the Junk Synchron or the Quick Draw Synchron is not a big factor in the deck. I have actually been thinking of perhaps taking out the Quick Draw Synchron and putting in a Junk Synchron, just for maybe better cards out there. So that is the deck profile, guys. Comment what you think of the deck. I know it is pretty much the exact same deck as all the other Fog Monarchs out there. There are just a couple different cards in there. But if there is a card that you maybe think that should go into this deck, let me know. I don't want to hear, one feedback I don't want to hear is, you should put in staple spell and trap cards that I might not have. But, yeah. So, I mean, Forbidden Lands, I do want another Forbidden Lands. I am trying to get another Forbidden Lands. So, there goes wife again. But yes, that is the end of the video. It's already been 18 minutes doing the deck. I didn't really want this deck profile to be that long, but sadly was. God damn, we have a wife. Anyways, so that was the deck profile. We're ending the video right here. This is Crossos123 signing out.